So we're gonna run back to blue-red Monkey Murktide deck that we 5-0'd with yesterday. I know this is nothing, you know, super duper crazy innovative, but I do think Murktide Regent is so well positioned that I think you're going to cut Lurrus from these decks. I do know that like the big thing I'm doing that most people aren't doing is Archmage's Charm. It's kind of baffling to me that people are, you know, cutting this card from their decks. It just is so good in this archetype and one of the best cards in blue decks in general. Orange Chips, 19 months, appreciate you. Welcome back. I'm doing well. Rock Lee should be 5th Hokage. Well, that would have meant that when Orochimaru killed the 3rd Hokage, they would have made Rock Lee Hokage, and Rock Lee was, you know, like 12 years old and recovering from a, you know, debilitating injury. I disagree. Is this an aggro deck? This is a tempo control deck. So this is, you know, a control deck that is more so trying to leverage a tempo advantage by playing really efficient threats and answers that can snowball and generate card advantage, rather than a control deck that's trying to more so leverage card advantage to win. This is at least how I kind of view these style of decks. You will live. Ragavan, you're going to live. It's too soon to say goodbye. Playing against Yawgmoth. Just hold up Charm this turn, I think. Yeah, my MTGO premium expired. Didn't get enough subs this month for MTGO premium. Maybe next month. Yeah, I mean, I do like the other version. Andrea Mengucci actually just said that he 5-0'd with my Lurrus list. I do think that version's still fine, but I will also say that I think the Murktide Regent is just so well positioned, it's worth not playing Lurrus at the moment. Which is good. I think it's like really good to just not feel like I have to put Lurrus in every single deck. Okay, we do need to draw some spells here. We can cast the second Ragavan to get Delirium if we are desperate to. Grist. Grist is pretty good. Alright, let's find a spell. I'm gonna fetch, get a Steam Vents here. Spell. Yikes. Yeah, missing Lurrus a lot right now. What do you think about Seal of Removal into the Shadow of Lurrus? A little underpowered. Lurrus, I'm not a huge fan of it, honestly. What does Grist do to win the game? Grist is just a very good grindy card. Grist isn't like 3 mana win the game. Just a good grindy card. A few days, I remember you advocating for Lurrus version of this deck. Any particular reason leaning towards Murktide at the moment? So the Rakdos deck that we, you know, kind of popularized is playing a lot of is not playing like any answers to Murktide Regent. At least like they have Unholy Heat, and they can play like Unholy Heat plus Bolt, or sometimes, you know, Murktide isn't a 7/7 or 8/8. But it's just like it just doesn't die to almost any removal spell in the format, especially with the Rakdos deck. There we go, emerging to prominence. Another iteration is probably a card to keep here. Tree Doctor, 13 months, appreciate you. Welcome back. So let's go hand, bottom, exile. Do we cast the other iteration now? I'm not sure. I kind of would like to maybe find some interaction here instead to hold up like this lightning bolt. Yeah, let me just keep Bolt on top, and then we can go ahead and draw the Bolt for next turn, and then just pass now. I guess we could still cast the iteration. Yeah, let me just hold it up, I think. I'm also, I think, willing to trade Ragavan for anything here. Ragavan's not getting much better. Shad, thank you for Prime. Appreciate you, buddy. It also like just like killing a creature will like I imagine my opponent has Court of Calling here and they're gonna get Strangleroot Geist, but then we can bolt the Strangleroot Geist if they block the Ragavan, or if they block Insect here, it's gonna make a future Court of Calling just a little bit harder to cast. Why not cast Iteration? Isn't it Flee there? Mana Rotting, want to bluff a counter. Well, the problem with casting Iteration is like we're probably not gonna get a full 2-for-1 off of it if we cast it right now. It's also true that if we make this trade and we cast Ragavan and hold the bolts, we can't also cast the Iteration. Been struggling with the sideboard to this deck. Am I considering posting a sideboard guide for subs? I would like to. I'm sorry that the sideboard guides for subs have just been not there for a little while. It's been very difficult to keep up with everything. I would like to though, but I also don't even like have a full sideboard guide for like I played. This is the first I played the first league with this version yesterday, you know, so it's just hard for me to have, you know, any that kind of turnaround as well. Because they have the plant token, Lightning Bolt won't break up their combo if they have Young Wolf. It seems they're just passing back, which is pretty good for us. Bauble first. Dig, dig, dig. Don't want a Murktide Regent. I feel like it's a bit slow here. I think I really want to find a Counterspell. See what they're drawing. Grist, number 2. Can't Force of Negation Grist. Could have maybe kept that Bauble actually. Alcander, thank you for your 11-month resubscription. Appreciate ya. Got a hype train off the station. Weird. I think my goal is going to be to bolt them. The Yawgmoth, you know, combo. It combo, you know, just Yawgmoth itself is a very life-intensive deck, and so now that I put it down to 7, they can loop a few times, but we can also, you know, also have Counterspell available. Wait, they have Court of Calling for Young Wolf? So we know they're drawing Grist. Maybe we just Counterspell this. I'm not sure though. Is this deck favored over Black Red Darcy? I think Black Red's still better. I think both are very good though. In that matchup, it's very close. I think I'm like 3-1 with Black Red over Blue Red, but that doesn't necessarily mean that oh no, we don't have the second red mana. Oh no. Yeah, I don't think they meant to go to combat here. I think they're gonna turn off their auto yields and do some stuff in their second main. Couldn't Thought Scour their Grist. I don't think we care that much about Grist here. The matchup probably depends on how big you can make Murktide. Yeah, I think the matchup revolves around Murktide Regent. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I found myself when I play the Black-Red deck, I'm always like, when I'm casting my discard spells, I'm thinking about Murktide. When I play out Voidwalker like pretty aggressively just to like, you know, start taxing their graveyard for Murktide Regent 2. And playing in that way, I feel like I've found some success. They do have another Young Wolf, but they shouldn't be able to combo here, especially now that they've lost their plants. Yeah, and then Black Red can play some Terminates in the sideboard. I'm not sure how good that is. I haven't really thought too hard about it yet. be honest with you. All right, let's go ahead and attack with Darcy, but I mean they're just dead to these 2 bolts. I just want to get in a little bit more damage first. This is a slow roll. This is a slow roll, honestly. Would Chivalry be a fine replacement for Spirebluff Canal? I would, if you like, I would maybe play Sulphur Falls instead if you have access to both. If that's the if you have access to Sulphur Falls instead, I would choose that one. Did Spirebluff Canals go up in price? I feel like everything went up in price, honestly. What? Jeez. Man, I remember last year I was like rebuilding my paper collection. Everybody's like, why are you rebuilding your paper collection? There's no paper magic. And I'm like, well, I kind of feel like it's all gonna become more expensive once paper magic comes back. I feel like it's gonna be a huge demand. Who's laughing now, I guess. We don't have a ton of good sideboard cards for this matchup. I really don't think Soulguide Lantern's that good against them. Unholy Heat is really nice to kill Grist and Yawgmoth. I think we probably want to play like 1 or 2 Force of Negations, probably just 1. They often board out evolutions. I don't think I'll Dispel, although they do bring in Veil sometimes. Also subs. Maybe I'll play Dispels over like the Forces. Cut the 4th iteration. How impactful is Modern Horizon 2? Pretty impactful. Like you see, like this deck I'm playing is playing 4 Channelers, 4 Ragavan, 4 Unholy Heat, 4 Murktide Regents. Very impactful, I'd say. You know, about as impactful as MH1, but without, you know, the need for like an emergency ban on Hogak. Yeah, I think I got my canals for like 5 last year. You like Murktide more than Lurrus? At the moment, yeah. Murktide lines up really, really well against the entire format at the moment. So I've kind of changed my tune on Murktide recently. It's also kind of nice. Murktide is such a resilient threat that I also don't think you need to play more than like 12 creatures, to be honest. Well, you're gonna keep this, of course. Turn 1 Ragavan not nearly as good in this matchup as it is in a lot of other matchups because of its natural predator, Athena. Let me Bauble them, I think. They have Eldritch Evolution on top, which is a really good one to know about. We unfortunately don't currently have an answer to if they just jam on turn 3. But I don't know that they're going to jam on turn 3 into 2 open mana. I played Murktide and straight Blue Moon. I have, yeah. I saw Evan 5-0 with it last night, Everos. I feel like I think it's fine there. I'm just not sure exactly how good, I guess. Is Mill well positioned? Mill's okay, yeah. I think Mill's okay. Honestly, the metagame is pretty open if you feel like you have a lot of like sideboard hate for. Yeah, I feel like the metagame is pretty open if you feel like you have like a lot of hate for like Urza Saga decks and Titan decks in general. If you just like, if you can feel like you're okay against those strategies, you're probably gonna do fine. Might steal that Athena. Although, if you steal Young Wolf with Archmage's Charm, then if it undies, it comes back. Let me go ahead and just use my mana on this Kitchen Sphinx though right now. Yeah, Titan Mill is very good against Titan for sure. Kind of think people are overestimating the Namba with Murktide and Snapcaster. I feel like 1-2 Snap would be fine. Maybe. I think it's a big, it's, you know, like you can always, of course you can play Delve spells on Snapcaster, but Murktide is really different because it makes you exile all your instants and sorceries, right? I don't know. The list also feels like pretty tight to me. I'm certainly open to hear like what you would cut for Snapcaster mages, but it would have to be like Force of Negations, right? And then your curve's a lot higher. I don't know. It is kind of a headache to play the two together, but I agree that like it's not the biggest deal in the world, especially if you play like Evan was playing a Blue Moon list last night that wasn't playing Darcy, and because of that, he was playing like Ops over Baubles, and then like the instant and sorcery count is way higher, and so like maybe if that's the case, if you're not playing Baubles, you do have enough instants and sorceries for Regent and Snapcaster. I play one Brazen over a Force. I'm so low on Borrower at the moment, but you know, everybody's got their own, you know, opinion on how to build these decks, of course. I've liked Royal Scions. This type of list feel pretty good. I think Royal Scions is fine. I feel like the list is pretty tight though. You know, again, most people seem to be cutting Force of Negations from the deck. That's something that I'm just like not very willing to cut any number of these for. Especially when you play 4 Charm, 4 Iteration, you have so much card advantage that like the card disadvantage from Force is like pretty easy to make up. This card is like pretty irreplaceable. It's, you know, kind of nice with Ragavan too. Just like turn 1 Ragavan, turn 1 Force there, like main phase, like their prismatic ending. And but if yeah, I do encourage you guys to try out, you know, your own ideas in these kind of decks all the time. My opponent has Court of Calling, so I guess we're gonna get to not do anything with our mana here. I mean, if they court for a Grol's Messenger, it's pretty bad. Let me just untap. Would I cut to add Matter Shaper? Any card in the deck can be cut for Matter Shaper, of course. Yeah, Bauble's off. Yeah, I mean, I agree that like I wouldn't cut Bauble from this deck. I'm just saying if you happen to be a Murktide Regent deck that doesn't play Bauble, then Snapcaster Mage becomes a lot more reasonable. Do you think at some point Delver and Blitz will be one deck? No, actually, that's a great question. I talk about this a lot. There are 2 types of threats in these kind of decks. There are threats that work well with counter spells, and there are threats that work well with just burn spells. And you know, cards like Manamorphose, more aggressive cards. Because Swift Spear, Soulscar Mage, these cards want you to cast spells on your turn. But then there are other threats like and then the threats like Delver of Secrets, Ragavan. These cards you can just cast at any time and they'll be fine. I think I'm gonna draw 2. I think I'm not supposed to play around second Court of Calling here. We know one of our opponent's 2 cards is Eldritch Evolution, so they just have to have second chord. And I just think that if we just never use our mana, we're probably losing. Third Ragavan, huh? Darcy's pretty good here, though. Yeah, the flyers are so important in this matchup. Maybe I should have traded Ragavan for Kitchen Finks. I guess yeah, I probably should have taken that trade, honestly. But I don't think that 1 Royal Scions would be bad, for whatever that's worth. You feel 4 monkeys are the right amount? Yeah, I would honestly play like 6 if I could. I would play like 8 Darcys. No, never mind. If I could play unlimited Darcys, I would just play like 15 Darcys. They would be my only threat. But I would play more monkeys if I could, even with it being legendary. I think Monkey does not. Like, this is one of Monkey's worst matchups for whatever that's worth. Just Young Wolf, one of this card's natural predators. But the thing about Monkey is it's 1 mana, it just dies so easily, and it trades pretty well that you're not usually unhappy to draw more. But I would play, you know, just a deck full of Darcys. Do you think this version is better than Izzet Prowess? They're 2 very different decks. These 2 decks are very different, but I do think this deck's I would choose to play it over Prowess at the moment. I think we have to let this resolve, right? Because then they just get to Yawgmoth if we don't, because we know that they have Eldritch Evolution. Need to find a Murktide Regent pretty badly. This is where the Kamigawa land shines. Yeah. So they're not gonna play the evolution this turn, which is not too surprising. We need to find a Murktide Regent to start blocking pretty well. Although we can start just blocking with multiple Ragavans. I'll keep another Charm. Another Darcy's good because it blocks these 2. Also is more pressure, of course. Okay, so now we get to go Darcy, attack with Darcy. We can block Ragavan on Messenger, Darcy on Kitchen Finks or Young Wolf. Then Unholy Heat the Messenger if we want to, all while holding up a Counterspell. What is deck is the opponent using? This is a Yawgmoth combo deck. The idea is if you can assemble Yawgmoth Transposition and 2 Undying creatures, the -1 counter, you sack a card, sack a creature, draw a card, put a -1 counter on a creature is how Yawgmoth works. And if you do those, if you keep sacking Undying creatures, the -1 counter will offset the +1 counter from Undying. And so if you get to do that, then kind of got a stew going, you know. You get to draw, you get to assemble Yawgmoth's Bargain effectively, which is going to be every time you pay 1 life, you get to draw 1 card. If you have 2 Undying creatures in Yawgmoth, which is very flavorful and pretty good. I'm gonna graveyard this. I just want to find more counter spells, I think. Heliod is not in the format. It's in the format. It's there around. Yeah. The reports of Heliod's death are a bit exaggerated, I think. In fact, I feel like I've been even seeing more and more people playing it lately. People not play it online because of the clicks. That's part of it, but also the deck is kind of boring and as well, to be honest, and people are a bit more interested in playing with the new cards still. You know, Modern Horizons 2 is one of the most exciting things to ever happen to Modern, right? And playing Heliod is not a very exciting thing. Yeah, so my opponent can find Veil of Summer or Court of Calling or second Yawgmoth. We're in trouble. They did not. If I don't have monkeys, can I play this with Sprite Dragon instead? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Heliod isn't exciting. Not really. But if you find, I mean, I don't find it exciting. If you find it exciting, good for you. It's actually like really, really good for you that you find it exciting because most people don't. Are they dead if we find a Bolt for Goose? Probably not because they have the food. Three cards in the graveyard, 3 more looks towards another counterspell. It's like we're just gonna have 1 counterspell. So even if they get Yawgmoth down, just them taking 17 here, they get to gain 6. They're gonna have a hard time. They're just gonna have a hard time finding their combo. They don't have a second Undying creature anymore. It's gonna be tough. Oh, they didn't make another food. Oh no. That's that probably means they just have no chance. Only in 3 monkey, 2 forest. Can I replace the 2 missing slot with snaps? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I might play like 1 Sprite Dragon on Snap if you have that. Can I explain your reason of switching Serum Visions with Charm? 1, Charm is like absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely should be in the deck. The fact that people aren't playing it is madness in my opinion. The card is so strong in this strategy. It just like absolutely should be a 4 of in this deck. And I also think that if you're playing 4 Thought Scours, you don't need to play Serum Visions as like a critical mass of sorceries for Delirium. Thought Scour is going to help you mill over either one of your 4 sorceries or one of your 4 artifacts, and you're gonna hit Delirium. Like as it was also with Darcy, it's not that hard to hit Delirium, and Serum Visions is pretty underpowered. So, you know, not having to play the underpowered Serum Visions has a lot of value as well in my mind. Yeah, but you should absolutely like that. That's like, you know, I know that's like the big difference between this list and what everybody else has been doing, but it just is ludicrous that people aren't playing Charm in these decks. You think Visions is good over Bauble? No, I don't. No, I don't. I think that this is a good number, and you also just get to play the best ones. The problem with, again, cutting Regents for snaps is all of a sudden you don't have as many copies of that really resilient Murktide Regent, and then that ends up being a big problem. The stream is 1080p. Doesn't mean the YouTube videos will be soon. Should be, yeah. I am completely hands off with the YouTube though. I just have my editor just handles everything, and that's how I like it. Yeah, and also it's true, like Murktide Regent is kind of like, you know, is the reason to be playing this version over like some other versions, and Regent is just so absurd. Let's graveyard this mostly for Delirium. And then we can Mishra's Bauble now to try to draw Force of Negation, or we can not to try to play around a discard spell. But I think our hand is already like pretty discardable that I'll just go ahead and do this. They revealed Stoneforge Mystic. What do you think are the best answers for Murktide? Path to Exile, Teferi Time Raveler's fine. You know, you can put Terminate in your deck. We can just Bolt Stoneforge, right? I think I'm gonna Thought Scour them so I can actually get value out of my Surveil. We get Delirium either way. Because if I target myself and I see a card I want to keep on top, like this Lightning Bolt, then I don't get to keep it on top. Yeah, Kai's Guile solid, Vindicate, Supreme Verdict, and like just sweepers and control decks. Supreme Verdict is really good against the deck I'm playing. Leyline of the Void. Think it's worth it to board in Soulguide Lantern in the Mirror or against Black-Red Lurrus? I don't know, honestly. So one nice thing about Soulguide Lantern against the Darcy mirrors is that if you have blockers, like you get to like make them attack with Darcy, shrink it, then block it. So that's not too bad. Right, so are they gonna take my bolt or are they gonna take my counterspell? Yeah, Relic is even maybe better in those matchups too. I wonder if I should be playing Relic. So if my opponent had Ephemerate, don't you think they would have ephemerated their Grief? I don't think we even care that much. I'm just gonna bolt them, play Murktide Regent. Oh, should I have graveyarded that? No, we just put that on top. Hey, who cares? Is Merfolk? I think Merfolk's fine, yeah. What is Grief Blade? If I tell you what it is, you're gonna promise to never play it. Grief Blade it's just Grief, Ephemerate, Malachite Rebirth, you know, trying to flicker their griefs and their solitudes, and then mitigate for their deck being kind of terrible by playing Stoneforge Mystic. Do you think Aether Gust should be the sideboard of blue decks? If you feel like you have a poor Titan matchup, then yes. But I like Alpine Moon is all of a sudden very good against Titan, where in the past Alpine Moon was like good against the Tron variants and not very good against Titan. But now that they're on Sagas and Sagas like such a big part of Titan's game plan, Alpine Moon is now all of a sudden like a good sideboard card against Titan. And so if you're not red, I would recommend playing Aether Gust if you're a blue deck. But if you're playing red, I would recommend a bunch of Alpine Moons. I've struggled with this against Grixis Shadow. Scourge is tough. Any tips for the matchup? Well, one tip is to like, if you can afford to play around a Scourge by not damaging yourself early, that's like usually pretty valuable. Leveraging I don't know if you're playing Archmage's Charm in your version, but Charm is really good against the Shadow decks. It steals most of their threats. I find that to be pretty good as well. You could also play Threads of Disloyalty as maybe the best sideboard card for that matchup, because that does steal Scourge, steals Goyf. About some black-green food. I'm honestly like pretty low on the food decks at the moment. I think that they've got a huge target on their heads. There's a lot of graveyard hate being packed against them, and they also have natural predators too, where those decks are soft to like combo decks and some big mana strategies and any like Karn the Great Creator deck. It's an issue I have. All right, they mulligan to 6, so we're going to be even on cards after they ephemerate. But they'll have, they'll have a 3/2 in play. They're gonna leave us with 2 cards immediately. They should just take both of my 1-drops, right? Yeah. Thoughts on Ponza? Ponza's fine. Ponza's fine. Play Karn. Play main deck Karn the Great Creator and Ponza, I think. Is there a Blue Moon deck that's good right now? Probably, yeah. I saw Everos, another Twitch streamer, 5-0 with Ponza last night. Lots of Domain Zoo, fine deck. Needs probably to figure out the best plan for the metagame. It's like, because it's 5 colors, it has so many options, and so I feel like there probably is room for someone piloting Domain Zoo to spend a lot of time trying to like innovate and tune and like really tweak the deck to be as good as it possibly can be. I don't really know that anybody's doing that right now. Vinci to play Red Black Monkey. Yeah, that deck is so good. Really, really good. Thoughts on Humans? Humans is fine. Oof. Humans is fine. I don't know if I have any more comments than that besides I think that someone who's like a seasoned Humans pilot probably is doing pretty well in the metagame at the moment, but it probably is one of the more difficult decks to just pick up and play, to be honest. Do you think it's worth splashing Goy and Rin and 6 in the Black Red Lurrus deck? I don't think Rin and 6 is worth splashing. One, it's like really hard on the mana to like play Voidwalker and Rin and 6. But Rin and 6 is also like just not that strong if you're not playing Liliana of the Veil in these kind of strategies. Like you're not like, you don't need a ton of lands in play. Just think it ends up not being that good usually. Do I counter this? I think so. And then I also think that, yeah, I'm in a good run with yes, yeah, I think Humans is fine. I think it's just kind of hard to pick up and play. And then Goyf is good and would be good in the red black deck, but I don't think it's so good that you'd want to splash for it. I'm definitely way closer to splashing white for like Prismatic Ending, Vindicate, maybe Kaya's Guile, maybe Wear Tear, than I am for close to splashing green for Goyf. But if Goyf was a black or red card, I'd probably play it over Voidwalker the deck. Alright, they exiled the Marsh Flats. I don't think they have Ephemerate in their hand. I'm just gonna heat this. Why counter when we have removal in hand? Well, there's 2 things in play that we'd want to remove, right? So if we don't counter that, then the Voidwalker or the Grief is going to go unchecked. It might have been fine to draw 2, though. I don't know. But Lingering Souls? Yeah, Souls is maybe like the tech to beat the mirror, I guess. But I think it's kind of fine not to play them. They made me sack exile my graveyard, which is smart. I'm gonna hold this in hand to incentivize them to cast a discard spell. How impressive is Dr. Queller's Spirit's only trophy count? Pretty impressive. Did he pass me again? Oh, we're still tied. Still impressive for sure. I also kind of just think it's better to play just straight red-black than Mardu at the moment. I kind of want to find room for a third Engineered Explosives, though. But I'm not really at the point where I think you would have splashed white. Like, I've been winning so much with the red-black deck, it's just kind of hard for me to really feel like any changes are necessary at the moment, or too many changes. What deck is the trophy leader playing? I played against them only once or twice, and they were playing Titan. But it was also so weird where we vindicated all of their permanents, and we had like an active Teferi hero, and they just weren't conceding. And I just don't understand how you get that many trophies if you're not going to concede when you're like 0%. You're just gonna like wait 10 extra minutes. I just don't know how it works. Prismatic has been strong versus the hate post-board and Mardu. Yeah, I understand that's like why you play it. You still have Engineered Explosives to fill a similar role in red-black, and it's also true that your best hate for their hate is always going to be discard spells anyways. I was supposed to take Bauble over Counterspell to play around discard. Also gets Delirium here. But we get Delirium with either of our instant though. Dork Throne, 15 months. Welcome back. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah. Principe must play like an unreasonable amount of, just like a crazy amount of Magic. I play a ton, of course, too. And Principe has to play so much more than me. They might have a protection here because like their whole deck is just full of stupid protection spells. We need to counter this so we can get Delirium, I think, too. Remember, any card that we surveil here is going to exile, not graveyard. I'll keep a Bolt on top. Can we predict a 5-0 now? It's a bit early, but I'm feeling it. Going too well today, bro. Bad. How you doing, Crid Bros? Yeah. I'm sure. Principe definitely has a high win rate. I hope I'm not like diminishing from the accomplishment of 70 trophies of the season. Definitely winning a lot, but also has to be playing more than anybody else. Do I bolt them? I think I'm not going to. Who said anything about cutting Croxa? I'm gonna Bauble now. We have just so many counterspells to draw into. Jacob the Mighty, thank you for your subscription. Appreciate ya. They're drawing a Plains. I did. Splash Blue, cut Croxa, Voidwalker's Regent, Counter Magic. An interesting thought. I was maybe initially too dismissive of cutting Croxa. Sounds pretty good. Pretty good. Opponent might have Solitude in their hand. I kind of think they do with these pauses. I don't know. Just thought playing 70 leagues. Well, surely it's gotta be. It's way more than 70. I would guess you'd have to play. I don't know. I would guess maybe like 500 leagues or something like that. Maybe not that many, but it's gonna be an insane amount. Milled over 2 charms. Brutal. They have a Kaya Orzhov Usurper on top. Danger. I know that they were playing some Titan. I don't actually know. Yeah, I don't know for sure if that's what they're still on or whatever. Yeah, this is the problem with the Grief Blade. Like, our opponent got to Ephemerate Grief us on turn 1. But the problem with the Ephemerate Grief deck is they're really good at putting both players in top decking situations, but they play so many, like, Malakir Rebirths and Undying Evils that their deck is just not that good in a top deck situation. I'm gonna Bauble myself and then see if I want to Thought Scour myself or not, or maybe Thought Scour them to draw the card. Flooded Strand, Thought Scour myself. Cool. I guess the opposite of cool. Hot. Did he get to gain 2 off the Kaya though, so it's pretty relevant. So I have 3 Regents in the deck. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Unholy Heat is so good. But I have double bolted if I didn't get the heat. Probably. I may have waited like 1 turn. Counterspell's a great draw. Bit of a brick. I only have 21 cards in my library. I probably should be Thought Scouring them. Maybe I should be doing that now. Should be doing that now, huh? Yeah, I feel like they're gonna cast Solitude here. We have Counterspell, and maybe their hand is 2 Solitudes, and maybe we get to gain 8 life, huh? Exactly dead if we get to hit them with this. Although I guess a discard spell would change that. There's no way they have an answer. There's like 0 chance they wouldn't have like main phase an answer, right? Or at least upkeeps. They're playing around Force blue card, which they like never should here. I'm gonna upkeep both them just in case they have like Blossoming Calm or something. Kaya's Gal, they would have main phased it. Or at the very least, not let me draw. Or yeah, but there's no way they have Kaya's Gal in their hands, so I don't think I'm ever supposed to like think about that one there. Alright, how do I feel about +2 mace? I like it. The actually person in me wants to say +2 mace should be +3 mace. Because it's 2 grades above a regular mace, which presumably is like at least +1/+1, right? But that's just me actuallying what is a pretty cool card. Lurrus, Ink Moths, I guess this is Scales. I haven't played too much against Scales lately. It's not Scales. Hammer Time. Took me too long to realize this was Hammer Time. When you play a Legal Esper deck, I don't plan shit out that early, you know. I don't like to plan streams too far in advance because I like to be able to play what I want every day. It was good to Unholy Heat that to get them off the draw mana. Okay, and Thoughtsei's better worse than Counterspell Iteration. Is Croaks or Lurrus better worse than Regent? Yeah, I agree with that. Although I will say that I think that discard spells play better with Ragavan and Darcy than counterspells do. And if I'm the one telling you that, the ultimate counterspell stan. Hope it holds some weight. Yeah, I don't think the monkey's getting in any turn after this, so I'm just gonna dash. Great hit. Main boarded Braid in the stack lately for Hammer Time, Affinity. I feel like I just want to sideboard a bunch of Shattering Sprees and stuff. I feel like just the 1-for-1s, you know, aren't that impressive to me, honestly. Yeah, Charm also helps a lot in this matchup. I really feel like these decks need to be playing Charm. I'm gonna block, right? Yeah, Alpine Moon also very good. Oh, their Saga's dying. Nice. Guess now we're gonna go Ragavan, hold up Charm. Is Murktide in over Sprite Dragon? No, I'm actually just on 12 threats in this version. Or sorry, if you're comparing like the blue-red Lurrus, then yes. But like compared to like what I'm doing instead of like what most people are doing is I'm playing 12 threats instead of like the 16. I'm playing 4 Charms. I think Charm is just so key. And Murktide is so resilient, I think that 12 threats is a good number. You'd fetch a response just in case. Oh yeah, I always forget about that. I don't think that they main deck the Needle though, but you are right. They get an Ornithopter to go with their drum. Ban or Urza Saga, huh? Yeah, that's a good habit to get into. Just fetch before Urza Saga can get a Needle for your land. Well, yeah, you could also play Prismari command instead of splashing for Kolaghan's command too. I think that might be better to like not make your mana a little bit worse. Just play Prismari command instead. Wait, what? How did they play both? Oh, the mana off of Urza Saga. Sorry. Realm Smasher, thank you for your tier 1 subscription. Appreciate you, buddy. Be pretty happy to take this trade. Yeah, opponent agrees that that's one that favors me. Just started playing MTGO recently. Can someone tell me what program this is? This is Magic the Gathering Online, which is an older program than Arena, but it has every card in Magic the Gathering's history while Arena doesn't, and you get to play the older formats, including my favorite format, Modern. Also, you get access to Legacy and Vintage. and it's, you know, maybe not as pretty to look at, but it gets the job done. And, you know, some people like the less flashy program too. Rebel Special Tier 1, like down 8 months, appreciate you. 8 times a charm, hell yeah. Yeah, that's true. There are some arena only art cards, but they're just kind of like underwhelming as well. So I'm probably going to draw 2 with Archmage's Charm here end of turn. Or do I want to steal Shadow Spear? Aspiring Spike, do you know that Archmage's Charm can steal a 1 mana per a permanent mana value 1 or less? Just gonna draw 2. Graveyard that. So we go Iteration and connect with Ragavan. We get to I guess we're just gonna do this. Hold off on the Regent for 1 more turn. Hold a Bolt plus Counterspell. Attack for 5. Likely connect with Ragavan again. I don't think I'm gonna cast that Sigard as 8, although we would get the Surveil. I see you're back on this version. Have the white black splash for Lurrus. Kataki felt better. This version felt a bit better. Just Regent, in my opinion, like that was always like the deciding factor, right? Regent has some tensions with some cards in the Lurrus version, where you don't get Lurrus, of course. You can't. I don't think you're supposed to play Snapcaster and Regent. At least there's a lot of tension there, and there's also tension with Delirium. Although that's like probably the smallest factor. I don't think that's that big a deal. But just like the combination of those 3 things and Sprite Dragon being like a very good threat as well, is Regent really that much better? And now my opinion is yes. Regent is just like, I think so resilient that I do think yes, it's worth playing this version instead. I'll counter that, I think. Bolt the Birdie, 13 months, appreciate ya. For the key cards to count as matchup, Pure Steel Paladin, Sigard is Aid, Colossus Hammer if they don't have Stoneforge to put it in, are the big ones. Yeah, Darcy is just the best card in Modern Horizons 2. And I think if that's the case, you know, if Darcy's the best card, we've got a pretty good format, I think. Got a pretty good format here. Billy Mays, 4 months. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, hopefully we can keep up this trophy streak. We've trophied every day for the last, like... We trophied twice on Thursday, 3 times Friday, which is nuts. And then off-stream Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Be cool to keep it up. I kind of just want to bolt the Stoneforge Mystic and pass with double charm up. Keep that. Just like with the Stoneforge Mystic bolted, they can't put in Colossus Hammer without it being uncounterable. What's Darcy? Dragon Rage's Channeler, DRC, has now been affectionately dubbed Darcy. Okay, up a game against Hammer Time. Really, really good because we get to bring in a bucket of sideboard cards. Force of Negation is actually not that bad against them. I think Ragavan is getting cut. I might play 1. Batman, 7 months, appreciate you. I guess Murktide Regents also can be a bit awkward because it's just smaller than a hammered creature. Counterspell's a bit slow. A 2 force. 2 iteration. 2 counterspell. How to use Alpine Moon against Amblin and Tron? Well, against Tron, you're gonna name usually a Tron land first, then Blast Zone. Sometimes Blast Zone first. And against Titan, you I think want to name Urza Saga with the first copy of this, but sometimes you're gonna name a bounce land if they have multiples of the same one, or if you just need to keep them off of mana. Sometimes you name Castle Garenbrig as well. Sometimes you'll name Cavern of Souls to just be able to counter Titan, which is a huge deal. Sometimes you'll name a Valakut. It's gonna really depend from game to game. We play third Counterspell over the first Ragavan on the draw. On the play, I'll play more Ragavans. I don't think Sprite Dragon is that good if I'm not playing Lurrus. Have 8 turn 1 threats. This focus so good. Well, we are playing 8 turn 1 threats in this deck. So what card are you playing over Sprite Dragon? Is it Delver of Secrets? And are you playing 12 1 mana threats? Why is this not playing Blood Moon? Isn't it a free win if you have Ragavan and play turn 2? Against some matchups, yeah. Alpine Moon is also like way better on the draw though than Blood Moon, where like Blood Moon is too slow on the draw against like most Urza Saga decks. It's my opinion, and also Blood Moon has tension with Archmage's Charm as well. Blood Moon has a lot of tension with Archmage's Charm, so it's my opinion that Alpine Moon is a better sideboard card, even without that tension. Let's mulligan this, I think. It's close though. Sand's good. Let's put back Force. Delver Secrets, I got you. I would prefer playing Sprite Dragon over Delver, but you can do whatever you want. I will not burst into your home and make you put Delver Secrets in your deck. Yeah, this is kind of some tension I was worried about. Shattering Spree plus Basic Island. I think it's gonna end up being fine. My opponent also mulled to 6 here. I'm probably gonna spend my turn 1 killing this again, just like I guess if they play Stoneforge Mystic, it's kind of obnoxious though. And then we now have a second red source to like kill the drum and the Midnight next turn. Yeah, if they play Stoneforge this turn, I'm really gonna want to kill that instead. Or Pure Steel Paladin. Are they gonna cast their hammer? They are. Be sure we use Heat here. In before Mutagenic Growth is their last card, I suppose. And then I think we Shattering Spree the hammer and the Midnight, but maybe if I draw Counterspell, I'll wait a turn. Let's just do this. Are DSC and Heat worth playing if you're too poor for Bauble? Yeah, just play Serum Visions instead and they'll still be like good enough. And Serum Visions has some strengths with like Murktide Regent, but Bauble is better in my opinion too. She'll be okay. Guess it's Murktide time. Murktide. Actually, our 5 cards are all instants and sorceries too. It's pretty lucky. 2 mana 8/8. They can't cast Lurrus without another white source at the moment. Wouldn't it have been better to take them off their second white mana hitting other artifact than Midnight? Well, hitting the Midnight does keep them off the second white mana too. And just like leaving them with creatures in play is scary with them with the hammers in general, you know. I think I'm gonna try to get a little lucky and hit a red source here. Got 4 looks. Yeah. Maybe a bit too greedy. End up working out super well though. Do you think Brazen Borrow might be decent? Not really. I don't think there's like it's not close to there being room for the card in the deck in my opinion. And it's also true that like I'm not very high on that card in general. 3060. I'm currently 8-0 with this deck. This Archmage's Charm version. Yeah, no one's drafting. I think that's a big problem. Is like there's just not enough people drafting the set. Snap Keep on the play. I mean, it's also like definitely true that it's not just that, right? It's also that Horizons 2 is like this set is more popular than any set ever. Maybe in Magic's entire history. At least in the context of Modern, that's going to be true. Hammer Time again? I think I bolt Esper Sentinel and let them draw a card. So I can have Counterspell up here. Assuming they don't chump. If they chump, then it's, you know, kind of card parity again. Dude, I keep hitting ornithopters off these. Yeah, for the format it was intended for. There may be other better sets overall. You know, maybe I'm hesitant to say best set ever, I guess, but it's been so good. This set has been so good. And at least like in the last few years, this set has just like brought so many more people to Magic Online, right? More people are probably, you know, getting into Magic Online for the first time in recent memory. And so demand is just a lot higher. And I'm not saying that, I mean, things could definitely be better. People should have prepped more for this for sure. But, you know, more people are playing the game, and like that in of itself is pretty cool, right? Throne of Eldraine is more powerful modern set? Maybe, yeah. Throne of Eldraine is gonna have, you know, like 3 banned cards, probably. I don't expect, I mean, it does have 3 banned cards. Player reward packs. I don't expect MH2 to have 3 banned cards. Ravager, Glorybringer, Scrib, Sprites, 1 mana, 1/1 flying in green. I needed one of these for my collection. Vexing Shusher. I think I'm supposed to counter this. Not 100% sure though. Then we just get to go Murktide plus Bolt if we connect with Monkey or draw a land. Draw 2. Oh no! I could have drawn 2. Mistakes are made. Then drawing double Silent Clearing is also like pretty absurdly good for us. So here we don't. Oh, sorry, we do get to Murktide hold up Bolt. Sorry. Bolt is 1 mana. Be cool. Yeah, I think Pioneer Horizons would be really good for Magic. I think Pioneer as a design space is like, you know, was really good for paper Magic when it was made, and then, you know, COVID made it, you know, not a paper format really anymore, and then a lot of problems with like new cards making the format less fun was a problem too. And this was my Sideboard plan last game. I feel like I liked it. I feel like I like this plan. Maybe we should cut. Man, I kind of want maybe first Ragavan over like 4th Bauble. Yeah, back-to-back Hammer Time matches. I mean, Hammer's really good. Hammer is one of like the most slept-on decks in Modern, I think. It's just like it got so much with Esper Sentinel and Urza Saga, and it just. I'm gonna keep this. Alpine Moon's so important in this matchup. We have 2, 1 for Nexus, 1 for Urza Saga. Yeah, I think Hammer Time is just super slept on at the moment. Put him almost to 6. Yeah, I think Theros was the biggest hurt for Pioneer. It's just, yeah, just it was tough, dude. Theros made Uro, Thassa's Oracle, Heliod, and then Underworld Breach, which is like those were just like immediately the 4 tier 1 decks, and any other deck you were playing is just not nearly as competitive. Second Esper Sentinel. Alright, you get to draw a card then. Maybe we'll come back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that Magic has a, you know, Magic as a game has a bright future for sure. We need our opponent to play Urza Saga or Inkmoth Nexus this game. I might just like have to ignore Esper Sentinel. What's my overall record with Blue Red Monkey? So this version that I'm playing, the 4 Archmage Charm 12 threat version that I put together the other day, I'm now 8-0. 8-0, and I think that this is the best variant at the moment of Blue Red Monkey. Do I want to Alpine Moon Nexus or play a 5/5? We might have to chump block. I think I'm just gonna Alpine Moon the Nexus. If we chump block, we just lose. Do you think it's better than Jeskai Stoneblade? Yeah, I'm not super high on Jeskai Stoneblade at the moment, to be honest with you. It's fine. Not a bad deck. Paladin's pretty scary. I shouldn't be F6 too. I should be taking my time a bit more with this. Probably gonna have to go to game 3. It could also be similarly flooded and then maybe steal this game. We draw well. Can't really beat us Hammer and Stoneforge after that. Maybe. I've got Shattering Sprees in my deck. Oh, they do have 2 hammers. And they have Metalcraft now. Yeah, let's go to game 3. Okay, so on the play, Ragavan gets better. Yeah, maybe Force of Negation isn't as good as I kind of think that it is. I think maybe Force of Negation was better in like the older variants. Let's play 3 Ragavans on the play, 3 Counterspell, 4 Charm, 3 Regent. Maybe 2 Regent, 4 Ragavan on the play. Maybe 3 Ragavan, 2 Regent, 4 Counterspell. 1 Force. Alpine Moon feels like over sideboarding. Well, after you play against Urza Saga for the first time, you'll disagree. Small splash for K command? I don't know. The mana, like, it maybe, but I think like we've got a bunch of Shattering Sprees. We've got a lot of good options. You could play Prismari command. Think that you don't need to do that. It's also like tell me what cards you're cutting from the main deck for Kolaghan's command or the sideboard if that's where you want them. It's always so much more helpful. They have Saga on top. We don't have an Alpine Moon this game, but we maybe have some time to find one. Also, Explosives can deal with Saga pretty well. Steal that. But I think we're just going to go Unholy Heat instead. Let's graveyard this for Delirium. Is Charm too slow? That Charm is really good in this matchup. They have a lot of cards that like just get stolen by Charm. Sanctifier, pretty good. We can I guess we could just Charm, draw 2, and attack if we want to. And maybe set up for Engineered Explosives on 2 next turn. Charm, draw 2, attack is kind of scary. I'll just hold up the Charm. I don't think the 3 damage is like that drastic. They're gonna equip. They are gonna equip. To consider poor etiquette to play out the game? No, but it's also like not poor etiquette to concede. Let's go. Oh, I should probably be a little more mindful of this card. Do I want a second Shattering Spree? I think at the moment I do. What am I just gonna go Explosives on 2 plus Alpine Moon, or do I want an Iteration? I think I want an Iteration and maybe get a 2-for-1 off the Explosives. Guess we can keep this. If we hit a red land, we get to play 2 spells here. Can probably keep a Counterspell. We maybe die to Hammer this turn if they have Sigarda's Aid Hammer in hand, but I think that's okay. I really hope my opponent plays like Stoneforge Mystic. This looks like Grace's Shadow could have a version like this that incorporates drinks the black red with Murktide and Stubby DB good. It could be. I think that the red is better though, in my opinion. Opponent puts Lurrus in their hand. It's fine. They can leave this back to block Ragavan. Yeah, it's not a very good spot for them to be in, to be honest. And here we get to go. I'm gonna, I guess, fetch, tap Steam Vents so I can have more red for Shattering Spree, which probably won't be that relevant, but I don't think we need to hold up Bolt and Counterspell here. One should be enough. We get to attack with Darcy, hold up Counterspell for Lurrus, maybe. who the F is Stubby D? So they're gonna attack here. I think we just take this hit, right? Thinking command could be get back Merc from the yard. Maybe. It's also not that. No, I actually think that that logic is kind of flawed because most things that kill Murktide Regent don't put it in the graveyard. It's mostly like the occasional like either bounce spell or path to exile, right? That would be my thinking there. Do you think Sultai bring to Lurrus is a good option? I think it's like the banned version. At the moment still. Do you have 2 paths? Just 1. Let's go. Oh, I don't have that many spells in my yard. I guess I'll just make a 2-mana 4/4 flyer though. I want to save this counterspell for Lurrus if I can. I actually think it's what's Surveil to Scour to the yard. Well, the Surveilled logic doesn't track that much, I feel, since like if you want to, you could just put it on top in a lot of spots. But yeah, I mean, I get it, right? I get the Kolaghan's Command being in the deck. Why you'd want it? Like it would be a good card in the deck, but I don't think that's worth splashing color, and I don't know that you. I say this a lot. It's always so much more helpful when you're suggesting adding cards if you can you know suggest what cards you feel like would be cut to make room for the card you're suggesting. Without a Sigarda's Aid, they can't really do anything too tricky at instant speed. I think I'm going to Shattering Spree the Spear, though, just to get that Surveil 2 and stop them from gaining any life. Game's coming to a close, you know? You did? Force, but no worries. I see. I missed that comment. They play Saga, it immediately dies, and they concede. I missed that comment. And that's fine. I think that would be fine. If you want to try that, I encourage you to do so. I think that I prefer this variant at the moment. Alright, gonna do a trophy prediction. We're currently 9-0 with this deck. This is a hand. I've had a lot of success surgical on Bauble. Is that an issue? I'm not scared of anybody surgicaling my Baubles, no. I kind of want to keep this. I'm gonna ball again. I like Voidwalker in the deck. I've talked a lot about it, so I don't want to go too in depth here. But what's nice about Voidwalker is you get to what do I put it back? Charm maybe? Yes. Flip like second Bolt. Yeah, it's just kind of if your opponent's not a deck that Bolt is good against, keeping both bolts. Maybe just to not lose. They are gonna be a deck that Bolt is good against though. I think we bolt here. Monkey plus DRC plus Bauble is good at anything. I think that that's probably true. So my opponent is on Blood Moon here. If they don't kill my Ragavan, we're maybe going to be okay because Ragavan can make some treasures. Tysmic, 5 months, appreciate ya. Dash Ragavan, second main channeler. I don't think that people. I think dash Ragavan a bit too aggressively. Like that line is way worse against the removal spell, and that line is also like not really advancing your board state at all, where you just don't have to sink any mana into Ragavan down the line. I'm gonna fetch here before I Bauble so that I can, you know, not mess with my Surveil too much. Murktide is really good in this matchup, but I'm gonna put it in the graveyard since we already have one in hand. My monkeys are wait. It's up to you, right? I can't make your financial decisions for you, but I don't. Monkey's gonna be good. One of the good cards in Modern. Opponent not having a 3-drop is also pretty wild. Their deck plays so many 3s. How does my opponent beat Murktide Regent? Keep that on top. Me iteration here. They should have fetched first. Probably doesn't matter that much. They have a forest on top of their library. Well, we have a sorcery in our hand and a ton of instants in our deck. I'm just gonna make the Regent a 6/6 here. Not too worried about Delirium. What do you think of Monkey and Burn? I would play Dragon Rage's Channeler over Monkey and Burn. Burn players, I just don't understand how Burn players are so resilient to change, but Darcy seems so good in their deck. Alright, Fury's kind of scary. Double strike, 2-turn clock. And bottom, exile, so now we have Counterspell up. So if we have, my opponent has 4 bolts, we can lose. Fury's a pretty good card. My phone doesn't have a lock. I don't have a password on it at the moment, and I keep like putting my hand on it and it opens, and I see I have like my fist just like flat on a Twitter screen. And I'm scared that I'll have like liked something crazy, you know? Like maybe I like accidentally like a tweet that says you should not play Lurrus in your burn deck. That would be a disaster. All right. Hopefully the believers are feeling good about their life decisions. I don't know if I'm going to change much. I might collect the 4th iteration for like the 3rd heat. Maybe I want to play 4th heat over 4th bolts. But I do want these forces, I think. Kind of scared of their planeswalkers. Scared of like Choke, Boil, Veil of Summer. Maybe on the play I'll cut some forces, but on the draw I'm kind of interested in leaving them all in. Yeah, controversial ice cream tweets. We're not getting a trophy, hell yeah. I've got so we've got 2 animated emotes so far. And then I've commissioned 3 more because you only get 5 slots, but I'm getting 3 of the hand signs commissioned as animated emotes. I think those are gonna be like just some of the best emotes on Twitch. I'm really excited. Let's keep this. Opponent's mulled to 6 on the play. Need you can lose so I can win with my bet of 10 points against you. Yes, I'll do that. I will, you know, if you bet no, then your soul and body should be transported to an alternate timeline where I'm actually losing this game. So just stand by for that. My opponent probably has Bolt, right? Maybe just make that awkward. There's a Flooded Strand on top. I'm just gonna shuffle a pass. Is Vampire Hexmage something in the black-red version? Why would it be? I'm not trying to be dismissive. I just want to know what the thought process is there. Oh, it's also like really good against Ren and 6 to not play the Darcy there. Probably their top card, right? Sprawl. Oh no! Oh no! Panic. Panic, believers. Alright, hit a 1-drop, please. They did hit a 1-drop combo deck. They have what, like 12 1-mana spells in their deck? But maybe it just doesn't matter. I'm gonna cast these spells. If we draw Murktide Regent, that's like the only way we can win, so Might as well dig a bit. Or like, or, you know, prepare for rain. These cards are actually dead. We have no outs to the Chalice right now. Yeah, we have Murktide, we have Archmage's Charm, we have Expressive Iteration as like fine draws. Yes, where the one Brazen Borrower will be teleported to the hand now. That's always the best thing, is when people suggest cards, it's like whenever there's like a spot, whenever you're and you know you're playing against a spot where the card that they suggest would be good, they're like, curious, maybe you should have listened to me, but they're silent, you know, the rest of the time. Curious, I'm looking pretty smart for suggesting splashing Kolaghan's command, But then, you know, when you splash the Kolaghan's command and your mana is painful, and or you play the Borrower and that card sucks because it's Brazen Borrower, they're just silent. Silent. Castable spell. Okay. I don't think I'm supposed to bring in Shattering Spree. I think on the play I'm just supposed to say we have Counterspells, we have Force of Negations, we have Murktide Regents. They also probably only have one Chalice as a card in the Great Creator target that they just boarded in. That's also my guess. Could play Explosives, yeah. I think that the first Explosives makes sense, yeah. That makes, yeah. Oh, I like the suggestion. I think on the play we need the burn a little bit less too, because we don't need to like reactively kill Arbor Alphas badly. Yeah, you know, replicating Shattering Spree does kill Chalice. Chalice doesn't stop the copies. I see your Kappa, but it does get around it. Second Darcy is probably fine. Well, I think I should go. We just get Delirium if that's in the graveyard a lot faster, so let's do that. Have it mounted on top. Should have played a Null, of course. In red. I think I Thought Scour them, right? So I can get value out of my Surveil. Great draw. My opponent plays Chalice. Do I force? We just get to like have counterspells up next turn. Probably should. Yeah, they just board in all their Karn targets, I guess. It's pretty smart. Don't have this charm up, unfortunately. Fury would be really bad. Just kill both my creatures here. They bolt Ragavan, not Darcy's. They must have a second bolt. Yeah, that's really bad for us. They still have 3 cards in their hand too. Relic is pretty good. They should probably just pop it now because of Murktide, right? Straight up just board in all the Karn targets. Now they can get their Trinisphere back from Karn. Okay, this is Windswept Heath. Arbor Alpha is like, I'm very happy to see these cards. I think I'm just gonna bolt both of those, but I'm gonna draw 2 cards with Charm this turn. Steal Arbor Alpha. Slowly work up to Murktide. Just let's hold up Hardcast Force this turn. We could take 3. Merfolk Skydiver kicking and stealing Urza Saga has been very good. Well, I'm sorry to break your heart, but you've been making legal play. Urza Saga is not an artifact, it's an enchantment, so you've been kicking Merfolk Skydiver, stealing Urza Saga. That is an illegal game action. Why not both the ooze on the fetch? Both the ooze on the fetch. I'm holding up hardcast Force of Negation. I don't know exactly what you're asking me, but I'm holding up hardcast Force here. They had Sprawl, that's so good for us. Should I counter the elf? Should I bolt the elf? Should I draw 2? Take 7? I'm gonna draw 2, take 7. We bolt, that's our whole turn. It uses our mana so poorly. And if we draw 2, we should be able to Murktide and stabilize a bit next turn. Ideally, Murktide plus bolts. With Force up. Not the best draws though, 3 lands in a row. 6/6 flyer very good in this matchup, of course. Life total is a bit lower than maybe I'd like. Yeah, oh, well, let's see what we draw before we make any decisions here. Draw. Am I gonna fetch and shock to play Ragavan? Well, I guess I can't really fetch and shock anyways. I mean I can. I'll just play the Scalding Tarn and just pass here. Unfortunately, losing the monkey. I don't have a basic mountain in the deck. Yeah, just like I don't think we're supposed to put ourselves down to top deck bolts. Exactly. Top deck Bloodbraid Elf is a disaster. They hit Seasoned Pyromancer off Bloodbraid. Damn it. And their last card's Bolt. We only have 3 islands in the deck, I think. Let me double check. We're playing 4 Poggers, hell yeah. Thought we were only playing 3. So we hardcast Force on bolts. We can counterspell Seasoned Pyromancer, Force bolts. Might just be best to Force bolt. It might be best to just counter Bloodbraid Elf, hold Force. Counter Pyro. I feel like we lose if we counter Pyro. We fetch down to 5, we counter Pyro, we force bolt, they attack with everything, they put us to 1, and then they have the Seasoned Pyromancer tokens. Yeah, I think we need to counter Bloodbraid Elf, force the bolts. Guess we don't need to force this, I'm going to though. In my opinion, we have to counter 2 thinks here. Thank you, Thomas. I agree. Alright, big draw step, huh? I drew a lightning bolt opponent. You're really brave enough to attack. There's like no way they don't attack. They have double kitchen Sphinx, Spyro. This is like the easiest attack ever. Brutal, huh? Their first Bloodbraid Elf breaks, so I don't think I can be too upset, huh? Sorry, believers. Maybe there's some really rich doubters out there, though. Chests have been pretty bad lately, too. I'm gonna run it back, though. Still very good league.